the first World Speedway final of the year. This is the Pairs Championship, where two riders from each of 7 countries ride against each other with normal speedway scoring. I'll come and explain that later. But first, let's... hello. Sounds like the band has been imported from Ireland, but the crowd seem to enjoy it. There's these fine examples of the Polish motor industry. Products are used to bring in the contestants. Coming in from outside the Olympic Stadium in Poland. Those are the Czechoslovaks there. Bohumil Brel, number 13. 21, Roman Matusek. He is the reserve. Having said that this is a pairs championship, you will see there are 3 riders for each nation here. That is because the team manager can use a reserve occasionally. Here we have the Italians. Man on the front of the truck there, number 1, Armando Castagna. Sorry, Armando Castagna. He's certainly the top Italian rider in a sport where Italian riders have historically not really shone, but he's a leader as far as the Italians are concerned. But if we're talking about leaders, we should talk about the Danes, who have won the best pairs every year since 1985, when Erik Gundersen and Tommy Knudsen won, and then it was Gundersen and Nielsen for 4 years until Erik Gundersen's dreadful accident. And last year, 1990, it was Hans Nielsen and Jan O. Pedersen, the very men who will be representing Denmark here again today. And Tommy Knudsen is their reserve. Not a bad man to have back in the pit, as it were. There are the Italians. As the trucks move off. And that's the Polish Motorcycle Federation's flag on the lead truck, next to the Polish national flag. That's funny, the music's playing but the band isn't. And as we look at this very pleasant facility, electronic scoreboard, you can see that the first few rows of the stands are empty. Don't be surprised. That's not because it's a small crowd, it's because that's where all the shale off the track gets thrown. When 4 500cc single cylinder 4-valve methanol burning motorcycles fly around the corners in close formation. The Italians. Number 5 is Furlanetto, you saw him. Number 6 is Castagna, the man we mentioned earlier. Good support here for the Norwegians. Quite a few Scandinavian fans there are the Norwegians. Number 10, Einar Kylingstad. Number 9, on the video picture you saw Lars Gunnestad, as we look at the Czechs. Number 24 there is 14 is Tesach, if you saw him. Bo Brel, number 13. The normal photographer's scrum before the start of a big international meeting. A traditional sight, as the riders, however unwillingly, pose for the pictures you'll see in the magazines the week after. Now, this is a best pairs championship. The first heat we're going to see is Denmark versus Poland, and then it's Sweden versus Italy, Germany versus Norway, then Denmark versus Czechoslovakia. So we have the home team, the Poles, not dreadfully well fancied, a country in the doldrums as far as Speedway is concerned. Long gone are the days of Zenon Plech, for anybody who remembers the great Pole who rode for Hackney Hawks in the British League for many years. Plenty of support for the Norwegians, though, isn't there? Lars Gunnestad, Einar Kylingstad here with the Germans. And number 11 is Gert Ries. He is the world long track champion. We're back with the Czechs. On the left there is Zenon Tesach. And the other guy there is Bo Brel. That's their reserve. Roman Matusek on the left in the blue leathers, number 21 on the front of his body colour. How can you be bored and yawning when you're about to ride in a world final? Who knows? The president of the FIM, the governing body of international motorcycle sport, Jos Vassen, just being introduced to the crowd. You may have heard us talking with Mr. Vassen here on Eurosport if you watch our Grand Prix road racing. Here are the Germans. Number 12 is Klaus Lausch. Number 11, Gerd Ries, the long track champion. Their reserve, Tommy Dunker, number 20. As you can see, it's a good crowd in the Olympia Stadium here. And there's a good number of Scandinavian supporters travelled not a long distance south into Poland. We have Danes, we have Swedes, and we have Norwegians. And we have some VIPs too. The other northern European countries, Germany, Czechoslovakia in there, and of course Poland as the host nation, and Italy. So we've lost in the qualifying rounds for this championship, we've lost such perennial speedway favourites as America, England, Australia and New Zealand. A very European world final we have on our hands. There are the Swedes, and of course the Swedes do have the reigning world individual champion Per Jonsson. He's got number 7 on his body colour. Number 8, that's him squatting down. Number 8 standing up is the other Swede, Henrik Gustafsson, and their reserve is Jimmy Nilsson. Back to the Czechs. And the Germans. Number 12 there, Klaus Lausch in the middle. The man with his back to us is Gerd Ries. And a rather nice electronic scoreboard to keep the crowd informed. Certainly the Polish authorities have put a lot of effort into staging this world final as we sweep past the Norwegians. Number 9, Lars Gunnestad. Back to the Swedes. That's Nilsson in the red leathers, the reserve. Jonsson squatting down. And for those of you who are not familiar with Speedway, and specifically with best pairs racing, or should we say world pairs racing, when we see the first heat, you'll see 2 riders from each team, and they do 4 laps, and you score 3 points for a win, 2 for a second, and 1 for a third. Fourth man home doesn't score, and cumulative scores throughout the 21 races we will see will decide the winners. If there is a tie on points after the 21 heats, then there will be a run-off for rostrum positions. The bikes themselves, 500cc 4-stroke 4-valve machines running on methanol, no gears, no brakes. Hans Nielsen, world individual champion at 86, 87 and 89. Best pairs champion 4 years on the run. And that man in the light blue there was the great Erik Gundersen, so terribly injured a couple of years ago. Now a full-time employee.
Hello, my name is Janno Pedersen.
We'll listen to Janno Pedersen.
I started when I was 13 years old. I've been riding Speedway now, so I'm 28 now. I hope we'll have a really good meeting tomorrow, and I think it'll be really exciting, and hopefully Denmark will win.
He is the partner of Hans Nielsen, the man we were just talking about. The reigning world pairs champions, Janno Pedersen and Hans Nielsen. There you see the single cylinder, the fashionable disc insert to the rear wheel. We look at the Swedish reserve, Jimmy Nilsson. Spindly looking devices.
25 years old, and I started to ride Speedway at Stockholm, Sweden. And tomorrow's meeting is going to be a hard one because Denmark is a tough, competitive country, and I think most of the other teams are very hard as well to beat, because even that everyone is saying that England and America and Australia is not in it. I mean, they went out and they're qualifying things, so it's going to be a tough one.
How do you feel on Olympia Stadium? Is it good?
The track speed is quite good today, and I hope it's going to be about the same tomorrow.
That was Per Jonsson, the individual world champion, talking on practice day for this the World Pairs final. It certainly looks as if the Polish army have helped set up the fit encampment, doesn't it? Here we are with the Italians. Now with number 5, Furlanetto, the second string Italian rider. Number 6, Castagna, the lead Italian rider. Aren't those motorcycles spindly-looking devices?
I'm Armando Castagna, I'm 27 years old and coming from Vicenza in Italy, and I started riding Speedway in '82, and I won 5 times the national championship, and now we are in the World Pairs final here in Poznan, and I think somebody asked me what I think about tomorrow, and I think it will be a very hard meeting, because we have the best players in the world riding here tomorrow, and I know we don't have many chances but to win the meeting, but we have some chances to do some good rides, so we try and we go for it. And I think that Poznan is a good stadium. We have a practice today and the track is good, and I think we have to see tomorrow, you know. We will see.
Thank you, Armando. A man who is capable of bringing surprises. Italy, not a traditional speedway nation, as we said, but Armando Castagna, an outstanding competitor. Yeah, look, Polish army tents appear to have been brought in to help out the competitors. Luxurious, this, by the standards of most speedway pits. We're with the Norwegian pit.
And I think it's going to be a very good meeting tomorrow. I think like Norway has a really good chance of getting on the rostrum, as we came second in Czechoslovakia, with a good day for me and Lars, you know, and hopefully Tori too, you know. We can pull off a really good meeting, and maybe we should be on the rostrum, I think.
What do you think about track?
Track is a little bit slick, but hopefully it was in good condition today, but I hope it's a little bit more dirt on it tomorrow. It looks good.
That was Einar Kylingstad, the second string Norwegian rider. We look at the Eastern European Challenge. Roman Matusek, a man who's been around for a while. Czechoslovakian motorcycle as well.
I'm very happy to come back to Poland. I've had very good memories from my career, and I'm really looking forward to the World Pairs final. I think it's going to be a fantastic meeting. Everything is well prepared. The track, the whole organization is 100%. I'm really looking forward to it.
Eurosport.
And that man you heard just before the break was, of course, Erik Gundersen, the multiple world champion in solo and in pairs racing and in team racing, of course, from Denmark, looking, it has to be said, pretty well, considering that appalling accident he had a couple of years ago. And Erik is now a full-time employee of the Danish Motorcycle Federation, where he coaches and looks after the interests of young speedway riders, as well as keeping an eye, as he says, on the big boys at events like this. It's great to see him here. And the two men lining up for the first heat, Hans Nielsen lining up in red on the inside, Jan O. Pedersen in blue. Note the helmet colours, folks, if you're not a speedway fan. Red and blue are the first team, if you like, the inside team, and on the outside in white, Dormasiewicz of Poland, and in yellow and black, Zawowski of Poland. Now, the Danes have dominated speedway in recent years. They've certainly dominated pairs racing since 1985. Aerial advertising, no less. Who'd have thought it? So, you want to watch for number 1, Hans Nielsen, and number 2, Jan O. Pedersen in the red and blue helmet colours. They will be looking to get off to a good start. They should beat the home boys. And into the first corner, the Danes are side by side. Yep, in blue, Pedersen just takes a look over his left shoulder, checks where Nielsen is, and they're going to team ride. Now this is shaping up to be an exhibition of how to ride team Speedway. These two Danes at the front aren't racing one another. One's riding an outside line, one's riding an inside line, and in white, in third place, Ryszard Domisiewicz is really given no space at all in which to operate, assuming he could get on terms anyway. Lovely shot there of the team riding Danes. You have to trust your teammates so much. And these two guys won't care who's first to the checkered flag and who's second, as long as Denmark get 5 points, 3 for the first place, 2 for the second place, to start off their World Pairs campaign. That's the way to do it. Leg trailing on the outside, feet up on the inside, checking where each other is, and it's 5-1 to the Danes. The home team, the Polish boys, getting seen off on the first corner, quite honestly, there. So you'll hear me referring to the scores as we go through. We start off with a 5-1 for Denmark over Poland. The second heat contains, now there's that lovely shot. Hans Nielsen on the inside, Jan O. Pedersen on the outside. Pedersen goes in slightly wider, leg trailing. Very stylish rider. 5-1 to Denmark. And I think they're pretty pleased with themselves, and so they should be. That was copybook stuff, really. That is how every team in this competition would like to be able to ride. The crowd, with a few Danish flags in there, seem pretty pleased, so I shouldn't think the home supporters are dreadfully impressed by that. Now, the second heat is Sweden versus Italy. And in red we have Furlanetto. And in blue, Armando Castagna. They are in the inside and the third spots on the grid. There is Castagna in blue coming up to the tapes. In white, we have Per Jonsson, the world champion. And in yellow and black on the outside, Henrik Gustafsson. Now, the Swedes are probably the favourites to challenge the Danes in this final. Italy, one of the weaker nations, although Castagna can be an individual star, but he's unlikely to get the backup from his teammate, it has to be said. Castagna is indulging in a little bit of gamesmanship at the tapes here. And in white, that looks like Jonsson at the front, is it? No, it's certainly the Swedes. It's Gustafsson and Jonsson at the front, I beg your pardon. In yellow and black, Henrik Gustafsson. In white, Per Jonsson. And they're going to try and show that Swedes can do what Danes can do, aren't they? A bit of team riding here, with the occasional glance over the shoulder in the direction of Armando Castagna. In fact, it's the other Italian rider, Furlanetto in red, who is in third place. Castagna's at the back. Well. So it looks as if the much-fancied Swedes are going to start off with a 5-1 to keep them on level pegging with the Danes, and it has to be said that is entirely expected. If Denmark had lost 1 point to the Poles, it would have been a major surprise, similarly as the Swedes do indeed rack up their 5-1. It would have been just as big a surprise if the Swedes had dropped anything to the Italians. Yes, well contented with their job. The Swedish pair head back to the pits as we await heat 3. There's the Swedish guys. Their reserve, Jimmy Nilsson, greets them as the crowd await heat 3, Germany versus Norway. Now we'll see whether Einar Killingstad's hope, prediction that Norway are good for a rostrum place, by which, let's face it, he probably means 3rd place, are going to be lived up to as the tractors get out to grade the track. This is normal in Speedway. The dressing of the track, the shale or whatever is used, obviously gets flung to the outside of the track, flung off the racing line by the 4 motorcycles circulating. So at regular intervals the tractors go out with the graders on the back, pull the shale back in. Now then, Gunnestad on the inside in red, Killingstad in blue against the Germans. And in red it's Gunnestad, but round the outside comes Lausch, and up into 3rd place comes Ries. Ooh, not a good race so far for Killingstad, is it? Lausch in yellow, Gunnestad in red. This is good Speedway racing. Oh, I thought Lausch had locked up. He got the drive. Gunnestad got a bit too much drive, maybe. And Ries is holding 3rd place for the Germans. Now, have I been underestimating the Germans in the run-up to this meeting? As yellow and black, Klaus Lausch leads heat 3. Lars Gunnestad is in 2nd. A man we saw win a meeting in his home country here on Eurosport earlier in the year. And Gert Ries is still holding off Einar Killingstad for 3rd. So if this situation holds up, it's going to be a 4-2 for the Germans, which would be the first surprise of this meeting. In yellow, Lausch wins, Gunnestad 2nd, Ries 3rd. It is a 4-2 to the Germans. Well, well. Now then, that's not a good start to the Norwegian campaign, is it? Some disgruntled Norwegian supporters there, I should think. Now then, this is a repeat of that heat, and you can see that Gunnestad in red on the inside did get the hole shot. He got the drop, but in yellow, Klaus Lausch just rode round the outside of him, got the line into the 2nd set of bends, and Gert Ries in white was all over the other Norwegian, I beg your pardon. Look, Gunnestad gets the front again, but Lausch gets the drive round the outside. Gunnestad gets a bit of a wheelie on, and this is where Lausch gets the decisive drop. He is not headed again. Yes, so that was where that heat was won, and the Norwegian challenge must have taken a severe disappointment already. Well, the next heat we're going to see will bring the Danes out again for our second view of Hans Nielsen and Jano Pedersen, but we're going to take a short commercial break. Join us again on Eurosport in just a moment for the next section of the World Pairs Speedway Championship.
Eurosport.
Here we are back at Poznan with the Danes. Number 2, Jan O. Pedersen, one half of the reigning World Pairs champions, lining up. Hans Nielsen on the inside in the red. Sorry, Hans Nielsen in the white. Bo Brel of Czechoslovakia in the red. And in blue, it is the Czech reserve, Roman Matusek. Denmark versus Czechoslovakia. Pedersen on the outside, sweeps round as Bo Brel really gives Hans Nielsen a sorting out for second place. Bo Brell in second. An aggressive first bend from the Czech. And he's still in second. Nielsen's back in third, coming under pressure from Matusek. Dear me, this is a bit of a harder heat than the Danes might have expected. Nielsen's through though, giving as good as he got. And Jan O. Pedersen, leg trailing stylishly. It's unusual to see this man get... Hello? Pedersen stopping. I was just about to say it's unusual to see Jan O. Pedersen get such good starts, and his bike has stopped. Now then, that leaves Nielsen out the front, but obviously the best the Danes can now get from this heat is 3 points. It will be a 3-3 heat. As they pass the stricken Dane on the inside there, it's obviously some sort of mechanical failure. Nielsen wins, as you would expect, but the Czechs pick up 3 points. 3 all. The Danes move on to 8 points. This is a chance for the Swedes when we see them in a couple of heats' time to take the lead. Jano getting a lift back from Hans Nielsen. Not often you see two in on a Speedway bike, is it? And you can see Jano, just from his body language, is... oh dear. He's wondering what's happened to their World Championship chances. Bo Brell leads the Czechs in. He had a really good first bend. He wasn't afraid of anybody, was he? Now, here's Pedersen. He's driving here, no problem. Looks over his shoulder. Looks down. He went for the fuel tap. See the left hand? He looked for the fuel tap on the tank. Then he looked for the kill switch for where the lanyard on the rider's wrist plugs into the electrical circuit. Obviously, neither of those was faulty. Well, we'll let you know if we find out what went wrong with Jano's machine. Heat 5. The Poles come out again with Schwist in replacing Zawuski in blue, Doromisiewicz in red, and it's the Italians Fernaletto in white and Castagna in yellow and black. The Italians with just 1 point and the Poles with just 1 point from their first heat. So the home crowd will be willing the home team to do something against one of the lesser fancied nations. You were looking at number 5, Valentino Furlanetto. That is Armando Castagna, fully kitted out with the best produce of the Italian accessory industry, as you can see, and as you would expect. Right, in red, Doromisiewicz, in white, Furlanetto, in blue, Schwist, the Polish reserve, and in yellow, Armando Castagna. The Italians have swapped positions on the grid. Castagna goes for the inside. Schwist in blue on the outside, Doromisiewicz in red on the inside. Those are the two Poles in second and third place. The other Italian, Furlanetto, pushed to the back. That's Castagna. And Schwist had a look over his shoulder there to see where Doromisiewicz was. And I think the two Poles might now decide to team ride it for the 3 points for second and third places, or are they still chasing Armando? No, I don't think the Poles can afford to relax. Furlanetto in white, he might be in fourth place, but he's within range. But at the front, Armando Castagna enters the last lap. 4-lap heats as per normal in Speedway. Ooh, big full locker from the Italian. And this will mean that both Poland and Italy advance to 4 points after 2 rides. So the Poles and the Italians a little bit better off than they were at the start of proceedings. And we're going to jump straight ahead now to Heat 7. In Heat 6, the Swedes 5-1'd the Norwegians, so the Norwegians having a dreadful start, and the Swedes taking the lead after 2 rides with 10 points to the Danes 8. This, the 7th heat, Germany versus Czechoslovakia, will complete the first round of races. After this heat, everybody will have had 2 rides, and we will know exactly where we are in the point standings. So, we have Bobrel in red, the reserve for the Czechs, Matusek in blue. We have Gert Ries in white and Klaus Lausch in yellow and black. Number 12, Klaus Lausch. Watford in red. He's been impressive in his opening outing. He's got the space, he's got the drive. Has he got the drive? No, he hasn't. Gert Ries has the lead, the world long track champion. Brell's after him. The other Czech, Matusek in blue, is on the inside. Whoa, both Brell's got a big locker on there. Lausch. Sorry, Ries in white. Gert Ries, the long track champion. Heads the 2 Czechs. Stuck at the back, Klaus Lausch in yellow and black. This looks like another 3-all shaping up, because I don't think the Czechs can get on terms with that very fast motorcycle in front, Gert Ries, and it would be difficult for Klaus Lausch to get between the team riding Poles. Sorry, Czechs. Sorry. So, this would be 2 rides. Let's assume that point position will obtain, and I think it will. So after the first 2 rides for everybody, the Swedes lead with 10, then it's the Danes with 8, the Germans have 7 in third, the Czechs have 6, the Poles and the Italians have 4, and poor old Norway only have 3 points. Who would have thought it? Confirmation on that rather neat electronic score. The 70.5 in the top right is the time of the heat. The fastest heat we've seen so far, 68.9 in the opening one from the Danes. As we go into heat 8, which is Denmark. Here they are again versus the Italians. Now this is one that the Danes must surely, if they are to keep their world championship hopes alive, they must win this with a 5-1 margin. So we have Hans Nielsen in red and Jan O. Pedersen in blue. Those are the Danes. Furlanetto is in white for Italy and Castagna in yellow for Italy. And the Danes will be wanting another exhibition of team riding here. And the Danes hit the front on the first corner. Nielsen on the inside, Pedersen on the outside. And they're off and they're going to team ride again. They haven't even looked at each other yet. The track's a bit messy now, overwatered in places. And this is exhibition stuff. There hardly a glance there from Pedersen to see where Nielsen, his partner, is. Exhibition stuff. Poor old Armando Castagna, reduced to chasing without much hope, it has to be said, in third place. Furlanetto tailed off. Is Castagna getting within range? You can see him winding his visor strip on there. And the Danes, as Castagna is getting on terms, but the Danes have left him no room whatsoever. 5-1 to the Danes, they resume their challenge. We're going to take another short break. Back in a moment with the Swedes, who are up against the Poles in Heat 9. Heat 9 of the World Best Pairs Championship, Sweden in the shape of Johnson. Per Jonsson, the world champion, in red, and the reserve is in. Nielsen is in for Gustafsson in blue, Dorosiewicz in white, and the Polish reserve, Schwist, in yellow and black. Now, the Swedes will want to give the local boys a good hammering here. Nielsen leads in blue. Round the outside comes Johnson, and in white, Dora Misiewicz is putting up a spirited challenge. But the Swedes have got the front, and the Swedes are going to team ride him. Now, what can the Polish lad do? Dora Misiewicz, Richard Dora Misiewicz in white. He has the Swedes in front of him, and he would dearly love, in front of an enthusiastic home crowd, to give them something to cheer about. But I fear that the Swedes have this worked out. On the outside in red is Per Jonsson, the world champion. On the inside in blue, Nilsson. Jimmy Nilsson. He is down as the reserve, but it looks as if the Swedish team are going to give him just as many rides as they're leading to. I'm not sure if that's within the rules, of course, but it's might not be quite within the spirit of the rules. Never mind. So, as the Swedes 5-1 heat 9, they go to 15 points. The Danes are currently on 13, and we're going to go to heat 10. Norway versus Czechoslovakia. The Norwegians currently bringing up the rear of proceedings. They have Gunnestad in red, Kellingstad in blue, and it's Bo Brel in white, who has looked so combative so far, and Ramon Matusek, the Polish reserve, is in yellow and black, not Tesarch as the caption says. So the Czechs at the moment lying handy on 6 points against the Norwegians, who are on 3 points. I mean, Eastern European Speedway has not had a good time recently, and the Czechs must be scenting some sort of a comeback here. And Bo Brel has been afraid of nobody in the first corners, has he? He's really given Hans Nielsen a bit of a hook in the first corner. He got it back, of course, from the multiple world champion, but we should get a good race. In red, Per Jonsson. Sorry, Lars Gunnestad leads, and the Norwegians hit the front at last. Is this going to be a change in the Norwegian fortunes? Yellow and black is Matusek, looking around to see where his teammate is. The answer is in 4th place. Bo Brel back in 4th as the Norwegians, Gunnestad and Kellingstad. Team ride to hold off the theatrical Ramon Matusek in 3rd. And they are having to work hard because the Czech lad is after them. One slip, one gap, and Matusek is going to have a dip for it, that's for sure, as they go into the last lap. What can he do? Gunnestad in red, Kellingstad in blue, Matusek in yellow. The 2 Norwegians lead the Czechs. And unless Matusek can do something, he's looking for drive, he's not going to get it. 5-1 to Norway. Which takes the Norwegians up into 3rd place, but we're nowhere near the end, of course, of this round of rides. Heat 11 is Denmark versus Germany. Gert Ries in red, Klaus Lausch in blue. They've swapped positions on the grid. In white, Hans Nielsen. In yellow and black, Jan O. Pedersen. The Danes are aware of the Swedish challenge. Pedersen was looking to his inside, 2 bike lengths off the grid, and he goes round the outside, takes up formation with his teammates, and we're off, are we, for another Danish exhibition. Lovely leg trailing style from Jan O. Pedersen, a man not noted for his textbook starts, it has to be said. Beautiful stuff. Jan O somewhat agitatedly looking round to see what's going on. And we heard, by the way, from the pits, the reason he stopped in heat 4 was a plug lead, nothing more than a spark plug lead coming adrift. And the thoughts that could do for your World Championship hopes is almost too much to bear, isn't it? But here come the Danes. The Germans have been well and truly blown off here. Textbook team riding, not without some agitation, judging by the way the Danes are looking over their shoulders. Close formation. Nielsen on the inside, Pedersen on the outside, and Rees chases forlornly as the Danes 5-1 heat 11. Takes them on to 18 points. The Swedes are on 15, but the Swedes don't ride for a while. We now have Norway versus Poland. Dormisiewicz is in red, Zawuski is in blue, Gunnestad in white, and Kylingstad in yellow. And from the outside, Gunnestad comes across to drive round the outside, take up formation with Kylingstad, his teammate. But the man in red, Richard Dormisiewicz, has shown himself to be willing to try for all 4 laps. And he's going to have a go here in Heat 12 against the Norwegians. Trying desperately to seek some sort of way between. Now this is what team riding is meant to do, you see. Stop the man in 3rd place finding anywhere to go. White is Gunnestad, yellow is Kylingstad. The man we heard at the start of the programme saying he hoped that Norway could get on the rostrum. Well, they started disastrously, but they are now looking at a second successive 5-1. So maybe it's not a forlorn hope. What's the goal to Siewicz? Oh, I thought he was through there, and so did the crowd. What can he do? Not a lot as the flags fly. What a shame for the home crowd. I thought Dormisiewicz was going to split the Norwegians, but he didn't. 5-1. Right, Heat 13. Germany versus Italy. Bulanetto on the inside. Gets pushed out by Castagna in white. In yellow, coming around the outside is Lausch. Bulanetto in red is 3rd. Sorry, Castagna's in blue, isn't he? Yellow is Lausch. And his teammate on the inside in white is Rees. The Germans are at the front. The Italians in 3rd and 4th. The Germans, who are in 3rd place after the opening 2 rides, look like they're going to 5-1 this heat. Comfortably. Is Lausch, 11 is Rees, and indeed the Germans do have this nicely stitched up. Will do their hopes of a rostrum no harm whatsoever. Heat 13, 5-1 to Germany, takes them on to 13 points. Heat 14, Czechoslovakia versus Sweden. Well in red, Taysarch in blue versus Jonsson, and Nielsen is in yellow. Nielsen in yellow, but round the outside goes Bobrel. Has he got him? Whoa, what a move, what a brave man this is. Jonsson in white, takes up the chase, does he? He's going to leave it to Nielsen in yellow. But this will undo the damage. As far as Denmark are concerned, if Bobrel, the Czech, can put it over on the Swedes. In red, Bobrel. Woo! Bohumil Brel, to give him his full name, looks like he has this heat won from the Swedes, from the team that are leading the World Pairs Championship at the moment. Chasing in white is Per Jonsson, the individual world champion, the reigning world champion. And Nielsen, Jimmy Nielsen is in 3rd. Taysarch, Sultan Taysarch is tailed off in blue at the back. Woo! But so, as that alters the picture, 18 all now at the top of the championship. 18 points each for Denmark and Sweden. Well, after 4 rides, and in 3rd, it's equal between Norway and Denmark. Join us again in a moment. Heat 15, Denmark versus Norway. Nielsen in red, Pedersen in blue. It looks like Kylingstadt in yellow has got the drop. But round the outside we did have, Pedersen goes to the front. That's Jan O. Pedersen, looks back and he does not see his teammate in second. He sees the Norwegian, Einar Kylingstadt. Nielsen, the other Dane, in red, goes round the outside, gets the drive in the deep dirt, and we're back to normal. We're back to normal. The Danes are first and second. This is just what they need. This will take them back into the lead. Because the next time the Danes come out, in Heat 18, they meet the Swedes. And that will look, won't it, like a championship decider. Let's assume that the Danes get 5 points here in Heat 15. They will go to 23 points. The Swedes are on 18. And the Swedes are out in the last heat. So it is 5-1 to Denmark. 23 points they get. We're missing Heat 16, which was a 4-2 to Germany over Poland. We're into Heat 17, Italy versus Czechoslovakia. There's a tight first bend. In white it's Bobrel, in blue it's Castagna. Castagna in blue gets it after they've sorted out. Matusek is out in yellow again, the Czech reserve, and Vesperini, the Italian reserve, is wearing red. At the back of the field at the moment. So at the moment it's a 3-all. We're standing 3-all in the Heat 17 between Italy and Czechoslovakia. But we really must be looking forward to the next heat, Heat 18, which will bring the leading two teams, Denmark and Sweden, to the track. It's going to be a win for Castagna by the look of it. There he is. And we heard from him at the start of the programme. Didn't think that Italy could win the title. He reckoned they could pull off a few good races, and this looks like a good one. Armando Castagna wins Heat 17, I beg your pardon. The Czechs follow him home. 3-all. Now, Heat 18. In red, Jonsson. In blue, Gustafsson. In white, Nielsen. In yellow and black, Jan O. Pedersen. And Nielsen and Pedersen hit the front in white and yellow and black. Now, can they hold? Can they hold the Swedes? They're pulling away out of the first bend. They've got the drive beautifully there. They really picked up any drive there was. Blasted down the back straight for the first time. Jan O looks over his shoulder. And he knows where Hans Nielsen is. This is a fast heat. The only people to get under 70 seconds for heat time so far have been the Danes. They've done it twice, and I wouldn't bet against them doing it again. Yellow and black, Pedersen. White is Nielsen. In blue, it's Henrik Gustafsson chasing. But these two are team riding absolutely superbly. They have an impeccable understanding of what the other is going to do in the corners, where they're going to position themselves on the track, how much drive they're going to get. But Nielsen is under pressure. Nielsen is under pressure from Gustafsson, the Swede, in the blue helmet colour. Yellow and black, Jan O. Pedersen, he leads. And this is Denmark's last ride. 28 points they go to. They cannot be caught. That is the title. That is the title to Denmark. The Swedes drop back to 19 points. They'll have to wait until their final race against the Germans to decide the other rostrum positions as we go to Heat 19, Czechoslovakia versus Poland. Dormisiewicz in red, Zawowski in blue, Brel in white, and Matusek in yellow. And it's Brel in white who hits the front for Czechoslovakia, and Matusek cut right in on Zawowski. Dear, the Czechs are not afraid of dishing it out in the first corner, are they? Oh dear, the Pole, Zawowski in blue, really had a hairy corner there. and he's effectively blocked his teammate Doromasiewicz in red. And the Czechs are shaping up for a 5-1 that'll take them on to 18 points as they finish their rides. So the Danes have finished their rides on 28 points. They have won. It's a bit more interesting, the second place, because we have the Swedes on 19 at the moment and the Germans on 17, and they meet in the last heat. Next out after this heat, in heat 20, we have the Norwegians, who after an appalling start are up to 16 points and could also therefore have a say in who steps on the rostrum. Certainly third place would appear to be between Norway and Germany. Over the Czechs, 5-1 to go to a final total of 18 points. Here's heat 20. Gunnestad in red and Keilingstad in blue for Norway. White is Furlanetto, yellow is Castagna for Italy. Norwegians hit the front. Now what can Castagna do in yellow? That's Castagna in third place, shaping up to challenge the Scandinavians in front of him. The Norwegians are going to need to team ride every bit as well as the Danes to keep Armando Castagna out. And they're showing every sign of doing it, aren't they? Now, if the Norwegians can hold on to these 5 points for this heat 20, they'll go to 21 points. That'll be their total for the meeting. Red Gunnestad, blue Keilingstad, and yellow and black in third place, the Italian Armando Castagna, forlornly trying to find his way past the team riders. You see that graphic overhead shot, there's nowhere for the Italian to challenge. The Norwegians are placed on the track perfectly, there really is no way through. Good team riding. Castagna's trying an outside line, looking for drive out in the dirt. He can't get it. 5-1 to Norway. They go to 21 points. The top of the rostrum already belongs to the Danes. Now, the last heat. Riss for Germany in red. Lausch in blue. Nielsen is in for the Swedes in white. Gustafsson in yellow. The Swedes on 19 points at the moment. So they need to score. They need to score well to get second. Indeed, they need to score to get third. And they go to the front. In yellow, it's Henrik Gustafsson. Per Jonsson in white. The Germans must have been entertaining hopes of a rostrum, but I think this is done for it, quite honestly. It looks as if the Norwegians on their 21 points will get third place. The Czechs have already finished on 18. If the Germans just get 1 point from this heat, and that's what it looks like. You see that man in red, Gerd Ries, in third place. He'd score 1 point, take the Germans to 18, which is effectively joint fourth place with the Czechs. It looks like a 5-1 to Sweden, which will give them second place with 24 points. So they've been beaten by Bo Bremel of Czechoslovakia, and they've been 5-1'd by the Danes. But that's quite good enough for second place in the World Pairs Championship. Second place goes to Sweden. Third place goes to the Norwegians on 21 points. So we're going to be looking at an all-Scandinavian rostrum. Denmark 28 points, they win the World Pairs. Sweden 24 points, Norway 19, Germany and Czechoslovakia both have 18 points, Italy have 10, and the poor old Poles at home are the wooden spoon men with just the 9 points. But for the seventh year running now, the Danes are the World Speedway Pairs champions. Sweden a second, Norway a third. It is indeed an all-Scandinavian rostrum as Hans Nielsen gets yet another World Championship. It's goodbye from me, Julian Ryder, and from the World Speedway Pairs Championship in Poznan. I hope you've enjoyed Eurosport's coverage of this World Speedway meeting. We'll be bringing you both the individual final and the team final in the next couple of weeks. Join us again for more Speedway on Eurosport. Good evening.